Yeah, in fact, like, I mean, one of the interesting things also you talked about, I remember the Project Bolo interview is also like, I mean, as a person with the royalty, I mean, you couldn't mix around with people, you know. So for him, I mean, like a lot of people, we talked about cruising in the street, cruising in the parks, but for a person with a royal family, he couldn't do that. He couldn't actually go to the park or the beach or a railway station to actually meet people. So for him, how did you manage to meet up people? I mean, for love, for sex, or whatever, you know, how does it?
Well, to tell the secret,
The
Ashok
palace
knows
secret.
about it. Ashok knows about it, and you're very right. I mean, there were certain restrictions for meeting people, and even I mean, even in a place like Bombay, we had the privilege of owning a mansion here, where even we are not allowed to have our school friends and all coming over and meeting us and all. So ultimately, it ended up with servants. so so I had a lot of crush on some servants of mine with my drivers and gardeners and all that kind of thing. So that was the only way I could kind of explore my sexuality. And I mean, that was the first ever time when I was starting to come to the sexual age. That was the time when I actually kind of, I won't say a relation, but I experimented with my own servant.
Okay. In fact, we're going to come to how you actually kind of really started working towards with the LGBT movement a little later. I want to go to Shobna. In fact, like Shobna has basically worked with the LGBT community, not just in India, but before that in San Francisco, if I'm not mistaken. And then she came to India for love. So I just want to kind of know a little bit about your background, what kind of challenges personally you face as a lesbian woman searching for love or being in love and your work there.
I think when I first came to India, I actually did a lot of straight acting. I did. Yeah. No. I actually have trained as a community worker in Sydney, and I live there. So after I think 10 or 15 years of working, I got burnt out. I went to US to study spirituality. And then there I had an online affair with somebody who was living in Bombay. Then within 2 months, she said, why don't you come over and visit? So I visited her, saw her for the first time at the airport. Then she had an apartment, we moved in, and we're sort of still together for about now 11 and a half years. Wow. Thank you. So when I first came here 11 and a half years ago, I think for the first couple of years, I was in shock because I've lived out most of my life. And then I immediately became straight acting because we had neighbors, next door neighbors. We had people coming in, maids, drivers and everything. So we became sisters. There was no other way to explain it. And so there was no, PDAs, nothing. Then over a period of time, as I gained confidence and as I sort of realized, how to navigate the complexity that India is, and it is extremely complex. I've never lived here before. I don't have any family here. But in the last 11 and a half years, I've learned that it is extremely difficult in terms of trying to be who I am. Even to be an empowered woman, it sometimes is difficult. And to be an empowered lesbian woman is even more difficult. So I think one of the things that sort of tells me that I've done it is yesterday my partner left off for an international travel. So I went to our favorite restaurant on my own just to have lunch. I sort of finished lunch and the manager comes up to me and says, Madam, where's the other madam? You eating alone? So for me, that was, a validation that we go to several restaurants where we go quite often. But that was validation that it actually, people do notice and they do ask if they're confident. So that was, I think, to some point. No.
Actually, I just want to kind of take your experiences to relate to the film we saw, the Cambodian film, Two Girls Against the Rain. I know, it's a different culture, different this one. There, in fact, there's this, one of the questions which kind of working on a different kind of gender presentation. That's what one of the partner actually assumes a kind of a male persona in some sense in the relationship as a male, as a husband, How does it work in India or for you personally or something?
In the Cambodian film, I think because of the translation, the butch-looking person, the English translation said that I am lesbian. It didn't say anything else, right? Yeah. And in the Bangladeshi one of the couples said, we live as man and wife. Right. Now, that depends on how we understand gender and sexuality. If you look at Harshita and me, we both have long hair. We both, are very empowered women, and we both strong older women. So we have over a period of time realized that our first identity is women. So we don't actually look for a man in a relationship.